Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of the show. Today I want to weigh into the elephant in the room. Should I still invest in Lagos? Now is such a politically charged atmosphere with the proposed demolition of Landmark Beach. In fact, they have already, the equipment already on ground and they are closing in on Paul Onwuanibe's landmark. And I'm going to start with this. Most times when there are tragedies, things like this happen. Obviously, recently as I'm recording this, there was a Nollywood person that died in a very, very tragic boat accident. And the next thing you heard the next day was ban all movies in riverine areas. This sort of knee-jerk reaction. Suspend the producer, because we're all reacting based on emotion, and I get it, but at the end of the day, you don't throw the baby and the bath water. Many people have come to my comments to just say, don't ever invest in Lagos. Let me even start by saying this. The UN and World Bank, their statistics have shown that by 2050, 70% of the world will be living in urban areas / cities, and but they consider 10 million people living in cities, in a city to be a mega city. And get this, 80% of the global GDP is generated by the largest 150 world metropolitan economies, containing just 13% of the global population. Do you get where I'm going with this? Urban mega cities that are poised geographically, administrative boundaries, they actually outperform and would outperform more rural or peri-urban areas. So that's why you see a place like Ireland, for instance, there is a housing shortage in Dublin because a third of the population of the whole Ireland, they want to live in Dublin because that's where the capital is, that's where stuff is happening, that's where you have the headquarters. You're not talking about polycentric and monocentric cities. That's where tech companies want to put their headquarters. That's where you have agglomeration economics, the big guys. So that's what you have in Lagos. You have all of the tech companies, they have their headquarters there. All of the major financial, legal, marketing outfits, they have their headquarters there. And it's a purely economic strategic location. So if you just say, don't ever invest in Lagos and we want to bring tribal undertones, it means you're not a very smart business person. It is, let's remove the tribal lens and just look at it from a purely economic standpoint. Lagos is strategic, very, very strategic. And then that's why you see other places that start to talk about leveling up. In the UK, for instance, everybody wants to come to London, but everybody wants to go to the southeast. So, but the northwest, the north, and part of some of the northern areas, they are facing massive deprivation. That is a global phenomenon. So, I think we need to have a different strategy from let's just forget about Lagos. Don't you think? So, what are the facts of this case? First of all, Paul said he came here 2007, and when he came here, the plan for this road, for this coastal road, there was another alignment. So it was a new alignment, or it's a new alignment in question that was drawn up after he came here to ask questions. Why was it changed? And so we have a document, and in the overriding interest of the state, I'm going to go to the Land Use Act very soon. In the overriding interest of the state, the governor, let's go to the Land Use Act. At 5, revocation of rights of occupancy and compensation thereof. It says in subsect Article 28, it shall be lawful for the military governor to revoke a right of occupancy for overriding public interest. Power of military governor to revoke rights of in the benefit of public interest. So public interest, in fact, one of my courses actually has to do with public interest because all over the world, it's such a contentious term. Because what is public interest? Who is the public? Whose interests are being preserved? So was there any mediation with the public around there? Who determines the public interest of 20-something million Lagosians? So you see, that's open to several interpretations. but they have that power. Now, I personally feel that in 2024, our Land Use Act, or the document, the major document that we should be using, should not be a 1978 document that was instituted by the military. I mean, that's just me. I know there have been different constitutional amendments as time go on, but this is our Land Use Act. I personally believe it needs to be revisited. So, starting from that, he is due a compensation. And so if you go down, where the land in respect of which a right of occupancy has been revoked forms part of a larger area, the compensation payable shall be computed as in subsection 4A. And what does subsection 4A says? Compensation under subsection 1 of this section shall be as respects the land for an amount equal to the rent, if any, paid by the occupier during the year in which the right of occupancy was revoked. Buildings, installations, or improvements thereon for the amount of the replacement cost of the building, installation, or improvement. That is to say, such cost may be assessed as the basis of the prescribed method of assessment as determined by the appropriate officer. Any depreciation together with the interest at the bank rate for delayed payment of compensation, and in respect of any improvement in the nature of reclamation works, being such cost thereof as may be substantiated by documentary evidence and proof to the satisfaction of the appropriate officer. All of this is saying that you're going to be paid a compensation, basically. My lawyer guys, help me here. So, he is due a compensation. But what Paul is now saying is that I took on debts for this place. And it's not just the amount of the building, it's the recurring revenue and also the debts and the interest in the debts that he has, which will probably take him another 10 years to pay. So even if you give me the value of the land, and obviously there's so much rumors going about what they're offering people, and I'm not going to substantiate it because it has not been proven that people that have CO and submitted their documents have actually been either paid less or not paid at all. So that is what this document says. What we're interested in here is that if you have your CFO documents, if you have done every single thing right, the government is not going to come and collect your land. So we need to understand the uniqueness of this particular case with Landmark. And obviously it's supposed to be with the state government, but it's a federal road. And so it has to pass through the state government because the federal government has this Land Use Act. They devolved all the powers of land rights to the state governor. And so the state governor holds all land in the state in trust. So it's going to be a mediation, which Paul has stated, a mediation between the federal and the state government. But, like I said, if you have your documents and you buy a proper titled land, there is no need for you to be scared. Because right now, the Lagos state government has a master plan up till 2036. And so in that master plan, you're going to see residential areas. I've done several videos about it. Residential areas, commercial areas, mixed use. You're going to see areas for education. You're going to see areas for government scheme. So it's different from this case where more than 20 years ago, Paul came and there was not such a cohesive master plan. And that plan was also changed very, a few years after. So we are dealing with a different context. And even if you go to Ikotan, all of those areas, every place that has been demolished are places that are along the canal path. But I'm not going to come here and paint the government as, if you ask me, I personally believe this is a shakedown. The government is not going to afford to do that. It's just going to be terrible, bad PR. In fact, it doesn't make any sense. I do not believe that they are going to go through with it. And Paul is very, 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 very confident that it's going to be a win-win situation. I mean, he's taking the PR award to the ends of the earth. Because this is his life's work, and like I can't blame the man. I can't blame the man. But also I wanted you to understand the nuance of this particular case. But the truth of the matter is also we cannot also 100% absorb the government, because there has been a trend of inconsistent policy. And in the CNN article, that's what they said, especially in Lagos and also the federal government, inconsistent policy. I'm going to even give you one. During the time where there was the tech golden years, where Flutterwave got funding of over $100 million, OP, they raised hundreds of millions of dollars, O-Ride, Max Ride, GoCada. Sanwo-Olu actually took pictures with these guys. Sanwo-Olu took pictures with them. And in less than a year, they banned Okadas. People raised money in dollars and then you banned it. And so I believe that the government has to actually communicate policy in such a way that gives investors more confidence to be able to know that if I invest, if I put in money here, I'm not going to just hear one policy tomorrow that puts my business in jeopardy. So for this reason, I believe that the government is not going to go through with this. And also how you can protect yourself is stop doing things by the door, especially when it comes to ratification. See, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. And so if you're leveraging on your connections to try to get a land that the government has put here, another governor can come, another party or whoever can come and just make things really, really, really difficult for you. So make sure your surveyor actually should be your best friend. If you want to buy any place, do your proper survey search. Let them tell you that it's free and you can go ahead before you go ahead. Because at the end of the day, I believe if all of these things are done how they are supposed to be done and in the speed and the pace it'll be better for everybody. Lagos will even be more, in a go-to destination. Imagine if we have 2 or 3 of landmarks. People are saying that literally they come to the country. One of the reasons they come to the country because of landmark. Lagos Tropicana in the golden days. People come to Nigeria to visit Lagos Tropicana. So these beachfront areas and these sort of things, all of these regional road, coastal road, Fourth Mainland Bridge, coastal road, they're going to make Lagos more and more of like a destination. And it just has to be handled properly. It just has to be handled properly. So that's what I have to say. If you want to, it's still basically long and short. What I'm saying is that Lagos is a mega city. Lagos produces 15%, if not more, of the GDP of Nigeria. And Lagos will always be a place. People like to bring some tribal undertones and stuff, go to your city, and I don't have much to say to those people, but Lagos makes economic sense. But just do it with sense, invest, do the right thing. If you're getting freehold in Ekpe, make sure you're working on the C of O. But more than that, make sure it also falls in an area that is not now or in the future based on the master plan under any encumbrance. Thanks very much for watching. This is the Ownahome TV show. Here on your home, believe owning a home, owning a property should not make you lose sleep. We're committed to giving the very best property recommendations and this other real estate gist. Kindly like, share, subscribe. See you at the very next video. Bye-bye.